Do you remember when we spoke about streetlights here on the show? Well, guess what? Accra is still dark. Watch this.
February this year, the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu made some assurances as to how she and her outfits were going to help improve the state of the city, Accra. One of the key points she made around that time was the restoration of streetlights in the capital, which several people had raised concerns at the time about how it was adversely impacting their lives. She has also come out to say that the restoration process has progressed by some 85%. However, I'm currently at Achimota, and this stretch I am standing on will take you to Kiseman. Right ahead is the runabout that connects you to places like Tesano, Jowulu, and the N1 that takes you as far as the Accra Mall. Something that you will realize when you use this stretch is the darkness on the streets. The areas are pitch black and the drivers are not happy about the situation that they are seeing in such areas. If you're a driver who uses some of these routes, usually you are going to have some visibility issues, which is a major contributor to the crashes, the road crashes that we are seeing on our roads in recent times. Aside the road crashes aspect, the situation also raises concerns about security. So we have one of the drivers here who is going to interact with us shortly. Hello, boss. Good evening. Welcome to Channel One.
Good evening.
How's the situation like here when you are driving in the dark?
That's very bad. Very bad, especially we those that don't have our light doesn't through. We find it very difficult in driving at night. I learned they said they are fixing the street lights, but as at now, I think some of the street lights are not working. So the government has to improve its way of fixing the light.
There are people hiding inside the forest. So if the street lights are not working, they do attack us.
Okay.
I was attacked here and they took my phone away from me.
Right.
Yes, so we need a street light to be fixed.
Some residents also shared violent encounters they had while plying the dark streets.
Last night, my pombe Sunday ameba. Me do akwa nipa be phone attacking me. But na me di me car na me call. Me ko mo bi na ehia me na. In case nipa no ti me di me nya sa dey come attack me apra me basa.
I remember some time ago when I was coming, I saw some armed robbers attacking somebody. They were just chasing the guy just like that. And you know, there wasn't traffic like you are seeing right now. The road was really empty, but it was really dark.
Earlier we spoke to residents on the Achimota Kiseman stretch, and now we are on the Kaneshi Malam stretch, and the situation here is very similar. I'm standing on the road median, and this is where most of the street lights are placed. So as far as that side, and right ahead of me, you would see that the street lights on the road median are completely off. An interesting trend I have noticed on the street lights that are on this stretch is what we have here. If you take a closer look, you can see that this pole which connects to the street lights has been open, and what appears to be cables that are supposed to power these lights have been open and disconnected, which goes further to affirm the concerns that authorities also have, that in as much as they are doing their best to resolve the situation, some unscrupulous persons still go ahead to open up these street lights, steal the wiring, and they take them away, further worsening the situation of lightning on the streets of the capital.
Speaking to Channel One News, Dean of Greater Accra Regional MMDCEs, Desmond Sowanai, stated that while various MMDAs have made efforts to illuminate the city, insufficient resource allocation remains a major obstacle to achieving the targets.
The minister's call to light up the city is on course. However, we have not achieved the desired objective as we may envisage. I'm saying this because if you look at when regional minister made that statement, you can see that the number of street lights or other streets have lit up more than ever. She herself has also spearheaded getting extra street lights for MMDCs to install. But you and I know very well that this 100 pieces is not going to be enough to serve a particular municipality or district. And therefore, she appealed to us to also support by acquiring some by the assembly. So these are the things that we are looking at. To achieve the holistic goal of, lighting up the street would mean that we have to allocate resources towards acquiring enough for the street, because
He added, however, that these objectives would be reviewed to ensure the gradual restoration of malfunctioning streetlights.
we are also determined to ensure that all things being equal, within the shortest possible time, we will support the idea. We have purchased some, and I know some of my colleagues have purchased over 200 streetlights to augment the same efforts. We at Ghana West as well, we have done the same. If we're talking about the street lighting, so this is the kind of thing question is, and I believe that as time goes on, gradually we will be able to achieve the desired results.
Clearly, the lack of visibility on the major streets of Accra is posing a grave danger to road users, both drivers and commuters. They want government to urgently address the situation. For Channel One News, I am Ejubi Wiafe Akin.
Right, so that's the situation in Accra, literally down the road from us here at Tesano. The N1 still dark. The Achimota Fankor stretch still dark. You get a bit of light when you get to Pukwase, the new interchange. Then after that is dark. And
Oteman, dark.
Oteman, yeah, you were saying it, dark.
In fact, the 37, the
dark.
stretch after the presidency, dark.
It's dark.
The Independence Avenue, dark.
Dark as well.
The Major Mahama bypass.
Oh yeah, very dark.
So clearly, I mean.
And there are also no street marking. So as you're driving, you're praying to God that could do Jojo. It's sad. I remember last time we spoke about this particular issue. They said they had handed it over to the MMDCs. And were they given timelines? I'm sure they were.
That I even remember.
Absolutely nothing. Well, Ejubi Wiafe Akin, our colleague here at the Channel One newsroom and City newsroom, covered this story, joins us via phone to talk more about this. Ejubi, you're welcome to Sunday Breakfast. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine, Eno. Thank you for having me, and hello to Jude as well.
Hi, Ejubi.
All right. I know we've done this story several times, but this time around, what gingered you up to do it again?
I mean, just a few months ago, we had the regional minister giving us promises that there was going to be a restoration of malfunctioning streetlights on the streets of Accra. And then shortly after she did that, I think some streetlights were allocated to the various assemblies to get them fixed. And then she also came to say that the work was 80% done, and the 20% work remaining was handed over to the various MMDCEs to take charge. However, that is not the situation that we are seeing. Since February up until now, most of the streets that we have here in Accra are still dark. And even the ones that were fixed by her, they are off again. So what is happening? That is really what caused me to do this report, because we do need answers. We need to hold our leaders accountable. They've been in office for some time, so if you're making promises to citizens that this is what you're going to be seeing on your street, and few months after that, the situation still remains the same, I think it's very worrying for us road users, drivers, commuters as well.
I'm staring at a story on the citynewsroom.com, and the headline, and it's from 4th May 2025, says streetlight restoration Accra hits 85% despite cable theft budget woes, and that's according to the regional minister. And we have spoken to her here on the show before, but 85%. Judging from what you saw when you went to do the report, would you say that parts of Accra have lights at all, and the 85% written here is true?
You know, from the situation on ground, I cannot say it is 80%, 85% of lightning that has been fixed. Maybe about 40%, because we drove through the entire N1, the runabout that leads to the Accra Mall, and then Shiashi towards the University of Ghana Lane, then to Achimota. We also took another drive through Ring Road, the Malam Kanesi stretch, and the entire place is dark. Some of the people we spoke to around Malam Kanesi did tell us that if you're moving along that stretch straight to Kansas, the entire place is black, and the situation is just troubling and very worrisome. Jude was mentioning earlier the Mahama Road, Independence Avenue, they're all dark. So, I mean, the 85% is very questionable.
I saw that some of the people you spoke to were also spoke about being robbed on certain parts of the road. Talk to us about that. You know, December is coming.
Well, people are very, very concerned about that. I mean, with the festive seasons approaching, our streets are like this, and it raises a concern about safety, because some of the people I spoke to shared stories. And there was a woman that I spoke to who refused to speak on camera, so I'll just give you a narration of her situation. She sells plantain chips. You know, normally if you drive through traffic, these ladies that sell the plantain chips and other snacks.
Yes.
And she told me that in her course of work, there was a recent incident that happened where during the night, one of the robbers picked items from a lady, and it didn't end there. Apparently, where the Achimota forest is, very dark stretch as well, the woman was dragged into the forest and she was raped.
Oh, Lord.
And she was raped. And it's a very disturbing trend if people don't have the confidence to walk on their streets again because there's no light, and bad persons have taken opportunity of that situation to do bad things to people. A rape case, you know, that's unthinkable. It's a very unthinkable thing to do to someone.
That's a very unfortunate incident. I'm not sure if you spoke to relevant authorities before you filed the report, but if you did, or even if you tried to reach out to them, did they give any explanations, or did they avoid you?
Well, I did. I was finally able to reach the dean of the MMDCEs, who spoke on the situation of from the angle of the MMDCEs and what they were doing. But I tried on countless occasions to reach the Greater Accra Minister. I was given one excuse from the other. He didn't agree to speak with me, to speak on the situation. He didn't giving excuses as to the progress, or maybe what is even causing the delay, because you have given us an assurance that this is what you're going to do. So at least if you have not done it, maybe there is a good excuse as to what is causing this issue, but nothing from her outfit.
You said you were able to speak to some of the MMDCs. What did they say?
Yes, so the dean of the MMDC said that while they are trying to, or making efforts to restore the street lights, one of the issues they are facing is insufficient resource allocation, because they have their common funds from which they are supposed to take some of the funds from to purchase some of the street lighting and use. But that is not the situation, because the amount is not enough, and they also have other projects that they have to take care of in their various assemblies. So in as much as there's money available, they can only use a little part of it for street lighting, while they've used the amount of the rest of the money to focus on other areas like sanitation, construction and maintenance of maybe their marketplaces and other public facilities. So that was a concern that they raised. And in the end, he said that some of his colleagues are trying to resource to generation of internal funds to make sure that this menace is kept to some extent.
Ajubi, we also know that when it comes to street lighting, right, of course, the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Linda Oklu, made some promises. But we know the maintenance is where the challenge really is. And we are being told that the Energy Commission, they've got a role to play. The local assembly, for example, also have a role to play in ensuring that street lights are properly maintained. In fact, we are also being told that the ECG themselves too are involved in the process. Can you explain to us, did you engage any of these other stakeholders, and what's the feedback? What did they say to you with regards to the maintenance aspect of these street lights?
Well, Judak, I didn't get in touch with the stakeholders that you just mentioned, but I can speak on the maintenance culture of the street lights, which I did highlight in the report, that you notice that the street lights are not only off, but then the behind of the street lights, which has cables that are supposed to connect and give the lights power, are not working. They are not working because some unscrupulous persons have gone to disconnect them and take the cables out that are meant to power these street lights, which is a concern because as a citizen, and we're doing something for the country, for our collective development, and we realize that the work we're doing, some people are also going to steal some of the cables that are supposed to power these street lights, and then we're back to zero, which also tells you that the kind of people that we're dealing with, because as a country, yes, our leaders are trying their best, but also do the people want the best for them, or do a section of people want the best for everyone? So that is what it is like on some of the streets when it comes to the maintenance.
Thank you so much for your time this morning and for the work you are doing in shedding light, literally, in a very dark world or place. And we are grateful for your insights this morning as well. Ajubi Riafe, who is a team member of the ChannelOne and City FM newsroom.